Hey guys, welcome back from Classic Work. I've had a lot of people over the years ask me, how in the world have you learned so much to be so young? Well, the truth is, I look a lot younger than I actually am, but the real truth of the matter is, I've worked a lot of different jobs. This right here, I farmed in, I wouldn't say heavy industry, but decently big industry for 6 years, and this is just a few pictures of some of the highlights of my career there, more or less. And the farmer that I worked for, he was a really nice guy. He taught me a lot. I learned a lot of discipline from him, and being my first job, I had a lot to learn. I was a knucklehead when I started, and he bumped me up through the ranks, and I was able to do stuff like this. This is some of the bigger stuff that you'll do in farming. And he was just a row cropper. He did corns and soybeans and didn't do any cotton or cows or anything like that, but he had in the past. This is just a few good little clips here. I took some excellent pictures during the late fall of a couple of different years. And you can see here, unloading on the go, soybeans here. This is some of the best soybeans I've ever seen in 1 year. I think they pulled 70 to 75 bushels an acre, which is amazing. That's unheard of in other parts of the country. So, had a really good year that year. But it's worth mentioning that this is what I did, and I learned a lot from just this one job. And I miss it, I really do. He retired several years back, and I probably would have never quit, to be honest. But you can tell I'm much younger here. This was in 2012 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. I think this was 13. And like I said, it was a great year that year. That's I'm trying to remember what size field that was. Around 200 something acres, I think, all the way to the tree line on the opposite side. This is the 4960. I was in an 8200. This is a really good tractor, 466 engine, John Deere, of course. And this was a clean tractor, not bad for a 96 model. Super clean tractor. But it was one of my favorites. Of course, driving grain buggy. I wish I could have been able to keep the audio. Something happened. This is off my cell phone, so the format's a little weird, as you can tell from my normal stuff. But I don't know how, but the audio got messed up. This here was unloading beans. This was if I'm not mistaken, that was a 70-foot auger. And just unloading beans into a bin just across the way. I can't remember the capacity of what that one could take. But it's little stuff like this that you learn to appreciate. Of course, it's way up there. And farming is an extremely dangerous job. I know people talk about it, but it's another thing to live it firsthand. A good old 766 International, great tractor. But it's just a little look. If anybody's never seen row crop farming and what you kind of do, I haven't shown planting or anything else, but the harvest is always a big bustle time of year. This right here was a grain dryer, actually, drying the corn so you could get it out of the field earlier and unload it into bins once again. And you may ask, what's the benefit of that? Well, if you get it out earlier, then there's less chance of having a bad storm and having it come and blow your whole operation down. So picking early is sometimes a good thing. Of course, one of my favorite tractors is a 1586. I rode a fair amount of hours in one of those too, so good stuff. All right, you can go ahead, Dad.
Choke half on.
Oh, it may not be all the way out.
You push with your hand.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of crappy. It's all the way. Yeah. Do what? I don't know. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, the Super 8 does a fine job making rows up. You can see they're nice and straight as long as you drive straight. And we do all the cultivating with it as well. Now this is a cool little device here. I'm sure some people have seen it. This here's an Earthway mechanical planter. It's got little plates in there that you can switch out. It comes with like 5 different sets, maybe 6 different sets. Plant all kinds of different crops in there. I'll list some of them there in the description, but it'll plant them, real good spacing, and they come up real good. Just for demonstration, we got sunflower here. That's come up really strong. Nice row. Now this has been one of the worst years to plant. We got flooded out. We probably got 12 inches of rain right after these were planted. It's a wonder they survived even this good. But it does a fair job. It does a real good job. It's all good.
How they hold it up? How they hold it up? There's moisture right here. Yeah, right here is really good. This is a good job. They always have done good on this side of the garden. Want to be cold? Find out.
So you get real good population all the way down. One thing I'm going to point out real quick, as you can see, one side does definitely better than the other one. I got one sweep that's bent actually, so I got to fix it. So you can definitely tell the right side's doing a lot less than the left. but it still works and does a real good job. Alright guys, here's a little look. It's been exactly, I think, 2 weeks later since we planted. I'm sure somebody's going to ask about the Super Ray, so I might as well do a little walk around on it. This right here is a 1954 International Super Ray, and this is a pretty neat tractor. It is a legitimately a garden tractor. These things were really cool. As you can tell, the seat is all set of the engine and drivetrain, so you could look down through the middle of the row and watch your plants as you ran them over, pretty much. Or try not to run them over. But these are really neat little tractors. I don't remember what the horsepower rating is on this tractor here. It's like 19. It might be 20 horsepower or something like that. Maybe 23. Somewhere around in that area. Originally they were 6 volt. This one here has been converted to 12. You know, anything prior to around 56 and 57, and tractors even later than that, even into the 60s, were all 6 volt. So pretty neat. This one here has also still got the back sweeps on it too. As I mentioned earlier, me and my dad, we've converted it just to row in the back, so we don't use them when we cultivate, just to row with, which those are big, like 8-inch middle busters. They may be smaller than that. Those may be 6-inch middle busters. And one of them's bigger than the other one, which we couldn't find a matching set. But I put this fertilizer spreader on here on the back, which this is made to go on an ATV. And you can kind of look and see how I kind of modified it to make it work. Pretty neat little deal, little 12 volt motor, and you got an on-off switch, which just hooks with alligator clips to your battery. Turn it on. And you got an adjustment up here to increase or decrease how much you put out. And you can also plant with this if you just want to broadcast seed. It'd be real good for turnips or even wheat. Wheat would be a real good one if you're doing a dove field or a deer field. And pretty awesome little tractor. They're unusual, and they're getting harder to find. This one here has been converted, as you can tell, from the generator to an alternator, a 1-wire Delco. So pretty slick little tractor. I bought it, let's see, 2 years ago, I think, and I've been real happy with it. And the other tractor, if anybody's wondering, this here is a late 70s, I think, long. This right here is made in Romania, if I'm not mistaken. Now this tractor here, I wouldn't doubt if it had 12,000, maybe 15,000 hours on it. The hour meter quit looked like it's 7,000, and that was probably 15 years, well, more than that, probably 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. So this tractor, I know a little bit more about it. It originally was on a farm, more or less, and it was on a catfish farm, and they just ran aerator with it. You know, it's about, I'd say, 35 horsepower. It's got a 3-cylinder, if I'm not mistaken, Fiat motor in it. It's a mean little tractor. You'd be surprised. For 2-wheel drive, it handles itself really well. And personally, I love it. It's a beast. It's overbuilt. Like, there's twice as many bolts in it as it should be, but it's a good tractor. You can tell here, this here is a Murphy switch. I don't know if anybody's familiar with these. They regulate your oil pressure and your temperature. If either one of them gets over a presetting, this little switch up here will cut the fuel to the motor. You can see I got a leak right here. There's a solenoid right there. That'll kill the fuel to the motor, and it'll kill itself. So you could put it on, like I said, an aerator or something, and just let it run. You didn't even have to be near it. And if anything happens to it, it'll kill itself rather than blowing the motor up. So real nice little innovation there. Good old tractor right here. As you can tell, the way my life is, I like old stuff, and it don't matter if it's crusty or not, I'll still use it. So this right here, is this a tough line? I can't remember what style this disc is, but this is a really neat disc. This is 6 foot. It's got some unique features on it that you don't see anymore, like the this big turnbuckle right here to put more down pressure on your back gangs. And another nice little feature this one's got is adjustable depth on the 3-point hitch right here. So you can, depending on how tall your tractor is and what you're trying to pull, since it's a category 1 hitch, you're not going to pull it with a huge tractor, but you can get it to set at the right height, because all tractors are different. Some of them got bigger tires, some of them got smaller tires, you know, they all set different. But just in case anybody wanted to know, that's a little history about these two. What are you doing, baby? Emma dog wanted to say hi. Say hi, Emma. There you go. One thing I wanted to show real quick is the transmissions in these tractors. Now, this one right here is just standard H. There's nothing special about this one. So you've got first, whoops, second, third, fourth, and then all the way over, and that's reverse. That's real simple. That's standard H transmission, just like in a car. Now, the long over here, this is a different story on this one. Now, long, I don't know, it was either Alice Chamber that was with Long, or Long was with Alice Chamber, I'm not sure. But they both had an identical tractor that looked just like this, had the same motor, same drivetrain, everything, just different color and different name. So, now this is the only transmission that I've ever seen that's like this one. Now the Alice Chambers, they had a high-low gear shift over here on the side that you would pick your sectors. Now this one right here is, I don't know if you can see it, I'm gonna try to get a good, okay. I don't know if you can read this diagram down here. This here is a double H transmission. So you're using, hey baby, what you doing? So this right here, you go into high and low with just one gear shift. Okay, now this is where it gets complicated. We're in neutral right now, so we got to go to high range. You just go straight down. It'll click one time. Now, say we want to go to fourth. You got to come over to the left and then down to go into fourth. So this transmission is really goofy. You got to move like 5 different positions to get in the gear. So say we want to go to first from fourth. So you got to come up. Let's see. Hard to do it without sitting on the tractor. So straight up from fourth is second reverse. So you go into the neutral pattern, you go back to neutral, you go straight up to low range. There we go. Then you come over to the left and then you go down. That's first. But you saw that I had to go through 4 or 5 different motions to finally get there. So say we want to go to third. Third's in low range. You go up 1 click, and then you go all the way to the right, and then you go down. That's third. So, very complicated transmission. This is the only one that I've ever seen like this. And I just wanted to see if anybody out there has ever seen or driven a tractor. Another cool thing about this tractor is the PTO is very unusual on this tractor. It has an independent setting, which you just pull it over there and the PTO runs constantly. And it also has a, what does that say? Synchronized selection. Now this one's really strange. You put it over in synchronized, and when the tractor's not moving, the PTO is not engaged. But as soon as those tires start to turn, the PTO turns. So that is very weird. You usually don't see that on tractors nowadays. It's just, you know, on off. But that has to be for some kind of implement that was driven with this tractor. I don't know how they do things overseas, so I thought that was real interesting. So if anybody has any comments out there for that, I'd love to hear them. So that's a pretty neat look at that.